Hello, and welcome to the Gamer's Closet. I'm your host, Douglas Weed, and today we're going to be talking about Shark Attack. Shark Attack is a motorized board game that was released by Milton Bradley in 1988. It seats anywhere from 2 to 4 players, runs for about 10 minutes of game time, and is rated for ages 5 and up. But let's dig into it a little further, shall we?
Shark attack! This shark is like a maniac!
It's Shark Attack. Just roll the dice, and when your color comes up, move your fish fast.
The fish that survives will be the winner. So don't be last or you'll be the winner. Shark attack! What are you gonna do? It's coming! It's coming! It's coming! It's coming to get you!
Sink your teeth into Shark Attack.
Shark Attack is a real-time race, roll, spin, and movement game that was released by Milton Bradley in 1988. It's a game where you have to swim for your life. You are one of 4 little fish that encountered a shark with a ferocious appetite, and you have to move fast. Roll the die and move your fish as quickly as you can to get away from the great white shark. The game has been released in multiple countries, including the United States and Canada, as well as released in France, Spain, and was rebranded in the UK as Shark Chase, as well as the Greek edition. The game has been reissued under the Shark Tale banner, but plays exactly the same. And finally, the game was popular enough that Milton Bradley issued a travel edition of the game shortly after its 1988 release. To set up this game, position the shark behind the dotted line on the game board for its start position, as shown here on the left. Each player chooses one color fish and places it on its matching color as its start space on the board. Any unchosen fish are then placed out of play. A color caller will be chosen, which is the oldest player to roll the dice. Throughout the game, this player rolls the dice and calls the colors rolled. Please note, this player also plays by moving his or her own fish. Once you're ready to play, switch on the shark and get it moving. The roll caller then rolls the dice and quickly calls out the colors rolled on the dice. Please note that if the same color is rolled on both dice, that color is called out twice. For example, red and red. As soon as the colors are called out, the players owning the called out colors move their fish as quickly as possible 1 space on the game board away from the moving shark. If one color was called out twice, that fish moves 2 spaces. Please note, don't hold onto your fish during the game. You're only allowed to touch them when you are moving them. After any fish that can be moved is moved, the roll caller rolls the dice again and calls out the colors rolled, and the fish move as I've just stated. When a fish is eaten during the game progress, the shark moves closer to the fish. When the shark's mouth completely covers a fish, the fish has then been eaten. An eaten fish is trapped in the shark's mouth and stays there until the end of the game. Once your fish is eaten, you're out of the game unless you are the roll caller. The roll caller continues to roll the dice and call out the colors rolled. Play continues until only one fish remains uneaten. To win the game, the player who owns the last uneaten fish wins the game. If the last 2 fish were eaten at the same time, play again to determine the winner. To play another game, just lift the shark off the game board and remove the eaten fish. Reposition the shark and the fish at their start positions. If you want to make the game a little bit harder, there's a few additional options for you. You can give the shark a faster start time by positioning it at the solid line instead of the dotted line, again pictured on the left. You can play as I've just stated, but do not assign one player to be the roller caller for the entire game. Players take turns rolling the dice and calling out the colors rolled. After rolling and calling, the dice roller then quickly passes the dice to the player on their left. The important note is if you do want to use this, the dice cannot be passed until all the fish that can be moved are moved. And finally, players are not out of the game when their fish have been eaten. They still roll the dice on their turn. Well, this has been an overview of Shark Attack. Shark Attack is a pretty basic roll, spin, movement game. You have to run away from a mechanical shark, which is the only additional addition to this game, which I think it makes it interesting. But overall, it's a pretty basic game. There's not really any strategy to this. It's a heavy luck dice roll game. So it's a great game for kids, but as for a complex family game night, or if you want to invite friends over, I would honestly pick something else. Shark Attack, like I said, it's a pretty basic game. It looks really nice thematically. It has a nice little island. The shark is pretty well constructed. Plus, you have the nice little fish tokens. So, thematically, I say this game wins. But overall playthrough of it, it's I would say a game that you can play with your kids. It'll teach them colors for rolling the dice. It has them playing well with each other. It teaches them to be able to play in a multi-group game setting. But overall, I'd say this is a pretty basic game, so it's a little boring on the adult end of it. Now, that being said, playing the game itself can be interesting, especially if you add house rules or if you have the shark start earlier. I think is a good option to help this game, but overall, it's very basic. The game goes online anywhere from about $10 to $20. It's relatively easy to find. There's been multiple printings of it over the years, and I think it's a game that's not in high demand, so you should still be able to get copies of it relatively easy. Overall, I'd say if you haven't played Shark Attack before, I would play this game. It's not on my high recommendation list of, hey, let's go play this because we got to go play this. It's all right, if you really want to play this, we'll play this. So it doesn't score very high on Board Game Geek for a very good reason, because it gets tedious very fast. So if you haven't played Shark Attack before, I would play this game. But if you want a good competitive meaty game for family game night, if you invite your friends over for a game night setting, I would recommend playing something else. Well, that's it from us here at the Gamer's Closet. We'd like to thank you for checking out our video on Shark Attack from Milton Bradley. If there's a game in the future you'd like us to review or go over, please put it in the comments below. Please hit subscribe so that way you can be the first to check out our future content. And as always, please have a great gaming day.